Hey guys, Amateur Horror here. Before the video starts, I really want to make an important announcement before you watch the video. So I have an SEO editor whose name is Sahadat. Now he's been helping me for quite a while. He's been doing SEO on all my videos, and because of his efforts, I've been getting a little bit more attention on my channel and stuff because of that. And I want to take the time to tell you that I have currently set up a GoFundMe page for him because a while ago he told me how his family is struggling financially and how he really needs money to help him and his family. So I took the liberty into setting up the GoFundMe page for him, and the reason why he couldn't do it himself is because he lives in the country of Bangladesh and GoFundMe is not available over there. So if you could at least consider making a small donation, even $1 can help him. The link to the GoFundMe will be in the description down below. Now, let's get on with the video. This did not happen to me firsthand, since it happened to one of my co-workers. But since that incident happened during my shift, I would fear to even go into the restroom alone. So, just to recap on the setting, the local port had a radius of nearly 2 miles, and there are 3 overnight security guards on the shift, including me. We were all at the front gate post, and it's about the size of a trailer home. The front gate post is separated from everything else in the site: buildings, slabs, offices, the oil rigs, everything. It's the entry point to the entire industrial park. The offices and restrooms are about walking distance from our port, and it's really dark since there wasn't really any light around. Around 2 a.m., the lieutenant walked out of the post to go use the restroom. The restrooms are deep in the center of the offices. The offices carry a very creepy vibe since they were constructed around the 50s, so the wooden floorboards and walls were still the same style from back then. About 7 minutes later, me and Mike look out of the window post to find our lieutenant sprinting back to the post. At first, we thought it was hilarious since he's a chubby dude, so we found it funny watching him run. Then, a realization started to kick in. The lieutenant was the one who let out the fact that this site was haunted. He said that he's seen things, and that it didn't really startle him that much anymore. We slowly began to imagine and wonder what the fuck he had seen or heard that scared the shit out of this guy. I mean, it must have been bad enough for him to be running back in a very hysterical manner. The lieutenant opens the door to the post that me and Mike are in, and we are both speechless and just staring at him while he catches his breath. After catching his breath, he tells us, "This is the last time that I will ever use the restrooms in the office building. I was taking a shit in the 3rd stall, and then I heard the restroom door swivel open. I thought it was one of you, so I simply ignored it. But the thing is, I did not hear any footsteps. I was listening to music, but I paused it to see if I could hear anything. A few seconds went by, and nothing. And then I heard the water faucet go off by itself. Then a few seconds later, the air dryer also went off. I finished my business, and I ran back as fast as I could, because I knew it wasn't either of you in there. The creepier part about this is that both the water faucet and the hand dryer are both motion activated, so in order for them to have gone off, something must have triggered it. Before this incident, I was already skeptical about using the restroom alone. I hated taking shits at work during my night shift because I was always anticipating for something creepy like this to happen to me. The worst part is, when you're taking a shit, you're in a very vulnerable position. Also, those restrooms are way too deep in the building, and it's pitch black inside. You would need a flashlight to go inside, and it's really quiet and creepy. One of my first nights I had was a after-hours janitor at Walmart. I worked there from 9:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. when the manager got there. Now I was typically with 2 others, but it varied, and a few nights I was alone. One of the only things I found creepy was the warehouse downstairs. It was the same size as the actual Walmart. We had to go down there to grab the soap to run the machine we used to wash the floors. We rarely needed to, as there were a few left out for us. One night I was there alone. I had used all the floor cleaner and had to go down to the warehouse to get soap. It already had an eerie vibe to it, pretty dimly lit honestly. I walked over to grab soap. This was around 2 in the morning, so I still had quite a bit more time. I was grabbing the soap when I heard echoing footsteps. I was the only one there. I walked out of the aisle to see what looked like to be a male, mid-20s. "Who are you?" I yelled at him, shivering. He said his name was Josh. This was his first night on the job. He was told to look for the other worker to get some assistance, and was told that the warehouse was where we got soap and also where the back room was. I was creeped out, but he seemed legit. He knew the manager's name and answered all the questions I asked him. We started working and everything was going well. He took an hour break at 5, pretty much to get out of work early. Said he would see me tomorrow night. The clock hit 6, and soon after my manager arrived, I asked why he didn't tell me about Josh. He looked confused. The new night worker. What he told me made the hairs on my neck stand up. There is no new night employee. You were working alone tonight. Was someone here with you? A police report was filed, but to my knowledge, nothing has really come up. I quit the job the next day. Never went back to that Walmart again. I worked in the radiology department in a hospital in Cardiff, Wales, United Kingdom, for about 3 years as an admin and clerical officer before getting a promotion working in medicine. During these 3 years, I saw a lot of things, ranging from patients dying in the MRI scanners to patients having an X-ray for inserting a meat thermometer into their urethra. Nights always seemed the craziest. One time, a patient came in with armed police after an altercation, which involved a knife in the middle of the city center, and just so happened the person he had the altercation with was having an X-ray too. This caused a second altercation right in front of me. Chairs were thrown, a trash bin or two, and then a wheelchair. So I have seen things. Some funny, some stressful, some sad, and many bonkers. But this one night, something scary. I would start a night shift about 7 p.m., then would work until 8:30 the next morning. This was the standard night shift for our department. We would usually do 3 nights in a row before doing 4 days off. After the 3rd night, you were ready to sleep for a week. The strange thing was, this was my first night of the 3, so not at all tired. It started off normal. I arrived at the department, took over from the day staff, logged into my PC. During this time, we usually would set up our phones or tablets to watch movies or the latest TV series, as there would be a lot of downtime between patients. Like I said, the first few hours, nothing that interesting, just your average run-of-the-mill in the radiology department. Then it came to my break. Now, before I tell you more, I should probably explain the layout of this hospital. This hospital is the largest in Wales. It's a teaching hospital, and it's pretty old. Now, the best way to get from A to B in this hospital is through what we call the tunnels, or the catacombs. These consist of very dimly lit corridors, old abandoned rooms, tunnels, and other creepy, decrepit areas. The morgue is also found in these corridors, so it's not a nice place to be during the day, let alone the middle of the night. But it's also the quickest way to get places if you're staff. There's always been rumors and mumblings of strange things happening in these tunnels. Some people say they saw ghosts in old-fashioned porter uniforms taking wheelchairs to pick up patients. Others say they have seen shadows following them from the corner of their eye. But one person has claimed they were attacked by a person wearing an old nurse's uniform from the 70s. This place is creepy, even at the best of times. But for me, never really fazed me. I've been down there hundreds of times before. The worst experience up to this point was having a sluice pipe drip human waste on my head. That in itself was a horror show. But tonight would be something altogether different, and maybe not even of this physical world. Like I said before, very quiet night. I have been watching the latest series of One Piece because I'm a geek. During my downtime, then a radiographer or radiology technician from my American friends out there came to take over and cover me for my break. I decided to go to the 5th floor where the sanctuary was located. On a night shift, it was one of the most peaceful places in the hospital. But to get there, I had to walk through the tunnels to reach the nearest elevator. I set off on my journey, which would usually take about 15 minutes, scanned my keycard on the main entrance to the tunnels, then proceeded to walk through. 2 minutes in, I started to feel like someone was walking behind me. It being a busy hospital, and basically the tunnels acted like the highway, I didn't think anything of it. Suddenly, I heard panting, like someone was trying to catch their breath after going for an intense run. So I turned around to check, and saw nothing. A bit strange, but thought it was nothing. Maybe just one of the pipes above my head creaking, or a generator bumping. So I carried on walking, but I kept felt like someone, or something, was watching me and was walking behind me. Out of sheer confusion, I missed my turn towards the elevators and found myself in a large section of the tunnels that I had never been before. Littered with old stretchers, beds, hospital furniture, and equipment. Some of this stuff was over 50 years old, maybe older, just left to decay in a dark, smelly, decrepit and rusty corridor. This was starting to really creep me out, because in all of this confusion, I realized I was lost. It almost felt like I had fallen into the back rooms. Everything looked the same. I could feel a tightening in my chest, and could feel the start of a panic attack. I remember clutching my chest and running down a corridor, trying to find a signpost or something to tell me where I was. The sense that something was watching me got stronger. Suddenly, I felt something hit my arm in force, almost like someone using a baseball bat. I remember falling to the ground, pulled myself across the floor towards the cold, dusty wall. I looked around frantically, trying to find an explanation to what the heck just hit me. Then, something caught my eye. It was almost like a black mist with glowing red eyes. It was about 20 meters away from me, just hovering in the middle of the corridor. Was this the thing that had been stalking me the entire time? I got back up and sprinted. I ran down what felt like 100 different corridors until I found a janitor. He asked me what was wrong because I looked pale, but I couldn't get any words out. He then grabbed me by the arms with a firm grip and said, "Did you see it too?" That was the last time I ever stepped foot in the tunnels. To this day, I hear rumors of strange things. I'm not sure what I saw that night. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe it was something. Why else would the janitor ask me if I had seen it too? What else is down there? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I won't be going to find out.